So our final presentation is NFTs for Law and Enterprise, and it's Houman Shadab.
Okay. Hello, everyone. I'm going to try to make this the best 10 minutes of the week so far, at least. Not to set the expectations too high, but thank you so much for having me and for sticking around for this course. My name is Houman Shadab. And talk quickly about NFTs for Law and Enterprise, because how else would anyone talk about this amazing topic? I'm fortunate to be a professor of law at New York Law School down in Tribeca. I'm a co-founder of ICMe. So one of the things I really like about being a professor is working with students through our Innovation Center. And one of the main things we do at our Innovation Center is build software. You may be saying, wait, how and why do law students build software? And that's because of the no-code revolution. In case you haven't heard, and maybe we kind of feel this in Web3, is that you don't need to be a professional coder, not to mention computer scientist, to build real software or real software projects. And these days, through lots of platforms, like in the Web2 world, like Bubble.io and similar tools, you can build real, scalable, powerful, customizable software. And that brings me to sort of ICMe. After my last startup, I told myself I'd never join a venture-backed startup again. But I'm so passionate about no-code software, about building software, about all of us being able to be software entrepreneurs, essentially, without having to get VC capital, venture capital, without having to work with software developers, at least too directly. No offense, of course, love coders. But really being able just to be passionate and about to be able to do it yourself on your own, going beyond the MVP and stuff. And that's what we're doing at ICMe, is bringing the no-code revolution to Web3. Now, again, the great thing about Web3 is already you don't need to be a coder to launch an NFT collection. You don't need to be a coder to join and contribute to and really have an impact on a DAO. But to do these things in a really customizable way, there is typically coding involved. To do things that maybe people aren't doing, whether it's governance rights in a DAO, or how NFTs get allocated and what sort of utility or functions NFTs may be doing. And because of that, also, I've become basically a blockchain. I like to call myself a blockchain maximalist or a Web3 maximalist. Not that those terms are original to me, but because I really think everything should be on-chain. And when I was working with Ethereum projects in the past, of course, we realized Ethereum is amazing and hope it's around forever because it has a very important role to play in the ecosystem, but it's not the right place to store files and documents and do things that require lots of transaction and throughput because maybe the gas fees are too high and what have you. And that's why with the ICMe, we're building on the internet computer blockchain, which, long story short, I do think is the fastest scalable and has cheap on-chain storage. Now, what would you want to store on-chain, by the way, especially if you are a lawyer? Going to the next slide here. PDFs, of course, right? Whoever would have thought about that use case? But certainly, in the early blockchain days, enterprise blockchain, the idea was, well, hey, let's put all of our documents and important stuff maybe on blockchain. If it really is this global, secure, transparent, as you want to be at least, repository for data and documents and files. And certainly that is a valuable thing because there's lots of problems with documents. The larger the company or the organization gets, there's statistics like companies are losing 9 to 10% of their revenue because they just don't know where the documents are and what they say, essentially. So they don't know how the appropriate price to charge, the appropriate discount to get, and that type of thing. And maybe one subsidiary is contracting with like Coca-Cola, one subsidiary is contracting with Coke Inc., and so they're not really talking to each other. So there's lots of problems with document management. There's no pure solution for all these, but one thing with, I think, document NFTs can help to solve are these ideas about, is this the proper document? Is it the verified one? Is it the authenticated one? Did the proper person approve it? And so we don't have to go search around for that final version of the contract, for example. And that's sort of where the intersection with law comes into play because you're sending contracts back and forth. You're looking for contracts, and sadly, so many lawyers can't even find their contracts wherever they are, wherever file they're in. In fact, I challenge you to go find all of your authentic documents, myself included, like what folder is that in, which email address, and all that stuff. So it's a huge industry of software, document management or contract management more generally. And here with PDFs, we can say at least we can help to solve one problem with ICMe. Basically, one click, turnkey, say take those PDFs, let's say a signed contract that's already signed, and put it on chain, give it a unique ID, i.e. NFT, And take its data and put it as metadata also on-chain. And again, the on-chain aspect of it I think is so important, and that's why we build an Internet Computer, because it's comparable cost to AWS, which is a three-letter bad word, right, in our industry, for storing data and on-chain and online. And the benefits, so the benefits you get are not only the potential like global repository and permanent repository for documents, interoperability, if it's according to the right standards, or at least if the data is formatted correctly, and sort of like if you think about things like global trade and business, they really try to have these standards, of course, so companies can just interact with each other fairly easily, regardless of what kind of like document management software you're using. But also when you upload a PDF, i.e. save, i.e. mint, a PDF as an NFT, on-chain, you can make it as public or private as you want. You can have a login for that specific document or for the page that accesses that document. And the good thing about logins for some kind of decentralized identity, or at least internet identity that IC natively uses, is that there are no logins with user IDs and emails and passwords. It's basically a biometric login or your own password or whatever the case is that can be connected to a seed phrase, but there's no more emails and privately revealing private and confidential information, of course, if you don't want to. And there's a lot of great kind of identity solutions that go along with that chain natively. Also, the code, like smart contract code, you can make it immutable. You make the data immutable, basically throw those PDFs and what's in the smart contract, what's in this blockchain called a smart contract canister, hence that allusion to it with that symbol, and basically throw away the key. So you cannot delete it, you cannot mutate it, it's immutable, which is good because one thing we all instinctively know and love about PDF documents, go Adobe, right, is at least that they're kind of immutable. Like it's hard to change a PDF. Of course, there's software, you can change the PDF and all that, but there's something that sticks about them in a way that's not sticky with like a Google Doc or a Word document. And the code can be open source, so you can see how risky it may be from other perspectives in terms of hacking, and again, the integrity aspect comes from the immutability aspects of it as well, and also in the security in terms of the very strong encryption and other supporting functionalities that are used on that blockchain when the documents are sent and stored across the nodes of the network. And finally, that brings me to the API aspect of all this, because we need to get to there from here to Web 3 from Web 2. And our idea at ICME also, whether it's PDFs or anything else, is basically bring all your data and assets and files to us being Web 3. So not literally us as a company or people, but the idea is, we need that bridge, we need a transition. So many companies, and whether you're artists and you have digital assets in the form of audio files or video, or whatever the case may be, not to mention PDFs and other types of maybe more mundane files. But yeah, with a one-click integration through the API, it's available now basically in beta form, but it works. And I've done demos where you basically like have your Web 2 app, whatever the case is, do your little JSON-oriented API calls, do a post, you get back the ID, and boom, there it is on blockchain. At the very least, as like a truly decentralized, a blockchain on-chain storage, which I think actually is superior to decentralized storage solutions because it's so integrated with smart contracts. And I think it's a key point, too, to realize once something is on-chain, it's in a smart contract, and I think that's really a good benefit as well. So thank you all for having me. I'm Houman Shadab, professor at New York Law School, co-founder of ICME. It's been a pleasure to discuss with you, and please feel free to reach out to me on Twitter or otherwise, and have a great evening.